How to Weld, the complete guide. Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for visiting our channel Welding Experts, and a warm welcome to our channel. I'm going to make videos that will teach welding enthusiasts how to perform welding and engineering tasks easily, so that you can start working without feeling panicky. Let's move to our second video, which is how to weld. In this video, I'm going to provide you with an overview of all types of welding and how they can be performed at your convenience. So, here we go. Let's look at what welding types there are, what the basic process involves, and which welding method is easiest. Whatever type of welding you're performing, be sure you're working in an open area, so you won't inhale any gas emitted. Various welding methods utilize electric current, gas, ultrasound friction, and electronic beams to join metal. We'll discuss electric current welding, which is the most common and safest method of welding. What are the types of welding? A variety of welding techniques are available, including stick welding, MIG welding, flux cord welding, and TIG welding. I'm going to discuss all of them, so stick around. Number 1, MIG welding. Among beginners, this is the most popular type of welding. When metal inert gas, MIG, welding is used, an electrical current is generated between the two metal objects that need to be connected. To provide current, welding wire acts as an electrode. A complete circuit is created when the welding wire contacts the metal. The welding wire generates an electric spark when pulled slightly away from the metal, creating an electric spark that becomes hot enough to melt the end of the metal of the two objects and the welding wire. The temperature can reach thousands of degrees Fahrenheit. As soon as the welded objects cool down, a line seam will appear between the two ends. Welding wire is released from a welding gun and passed through the metals as they melt during the process. Welding guns release gases to purify the air surrounding the weld and protect it from gases like nitrogen. The process of MIG welding is also referred to as gas metal arc welding, GMAW. Number 2, stick welding. Stick welding is a two-handed job that has a few more complications than MIG welding. A metal filler rod or a stick coated with flux is needed. These flux coatings melt when heated, releasing gas and forming liquid slag that prevents oxidation of the metals being welded. By dissolving the slag with solvents and chipping it off with a sander, the gas dissipates on its own. Shielded metal arc welding, SMAW, is also known as stick welding. Number 3, TIG welding. It is a skilled and precise process to weld with tungsten inert gas, TIG. In the same way as MIG, it uses an electrode, but instead of a wire, a tungsten metal rod is fed into the welded metal. A welding gun and a filler rod are used by the welder. The welding process is like MIG welding in that an electric arc is created which melts both the metal and filler rod. To shield the metal from being welded, gas is also released from the gun. TIG welding machines have pedals that can be used to adjust the current running through the circuit. It prevents the metal from experiencing thermal shock and becoming brittle by lowering or raising its temperature. Welders constantly dip the rod into a metal pool created by melting metals and tungsten rods in a back and forth motion. Gas tungsten arc welding, GTAW, is also known as TIG welding. Number 4, flux cord welding. Flux cord arc welding is the last form of welding of flux cord arc welding. Instead of using wire for MIG welding, an electrode tube is used. There is a metal exterior and a flux core to the tube. The heat generated by welding melts the flux, releasing liquid slag and gas that prevents the metals from oxidizing. The cleanup of this liquid slag is also time-consuming and labor-intensive like stick welding. The metal is more reliably protected by it than by welding gas. To avoid welding over liquid slag, the welder pulls the metal to prevent it from becoming porous and leaving small holes. Let's talk about what you should do if you are new to welding. When it comes to welding, there are a few things you should know, and practicing on scrap metal beforehand is a good idea. The first step is to read the manual that comes with your welding machine. Make sure the settings are appropriate for the material you are using. To achieve the optimal combination of voltage and wire speed, you may need a bit of practice if you're new to welding. It protrudes about 12 inches from the end of the welding gun. Avoid touching the work surface with the gun closer than 3/8. When you begin working, you will push the gun forward. Some welding guns emit shielding gas, which can be dispersed with a pulling motion. Depending on the speed at which you move the gun, the metal temperature will rise, and you will have to feed more welding wire into the gun. Whipping is a technique used by many welders to maintain a consistent speed. Where the two metals meet, it also creates a narrow seam. You should not hear snapping or popping noises while welding. When you work, you'll hear a buzzing sound, like the sizzle of fat in a frying pan. Your work should be complete within a few minutes, depending on the size of what you are welding. How can you learn to weld easily? There are many ways to learn to weld, but MIG Welding is the easiest. The MIG Welding machine is the easiest to use of all 4 methods, and it is the least complicated. The MIG welding process is a good place to start if you are new to welding. Summarizing the video. There is no doubt that welding is a difficult process, but because it involves melting metal at temperatures reaching thousands of degrees Fahrenheit, it cannot be avoided. It is important to be properly trained before you start welding on your own, to know which method works best for the metals you are working with, and to be comfortable with the method you choose. Practice welding on scrap metal before welding objects of value. You're ready to proceed once you're confident you can do a clean job without injuring yourself. If you enjoyed our video, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you won't miss any of our future videos. In the meantime, keep practicing welding. Soon you will reach your goal. Goodbye until the next video.